guys, dearyoongi here, and welcome back to my channel. First of all, I just want to say Happy New Year. I'm sorry that I disappeared between Christmas and New Year. I decided to take some time off to sort of rest and recuperate after a really busy and tough 2022, but now I am back and ready to go. So for the first video of 2023, I thought it'd be fun to start off with a pretty simple one, 23 K-pop opinions to start 2023. In all honesty, this is kind of me just copying the idea I did in 2021 when I did 21 K-pop opinions to end 2021, because I didn't do one to end 2022, so let's just start off the year with some opinions instead. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. Number 1. I'd like to think that Blackpink have the success and careers that 21 would have had if K-pop was as big as it is now worldwide when they were active. 2. K-pop fans are more accepting of boy groups maturing their sound and image rather than girl groups. All we have to do is compare a girl group like ITZY changing their image and the reaction they got to a group like NCT Dream, for instance, who literally debuted with a youthful image, which then took a pretty drastic turn as they got older. I'm not saying NCT Dream didn't get a lot of hate, but you get my drift. Fans seem to get over it a lot quicker than they did with ITZY. They just didn't get over it at all. It plays into this obsession the media has with keeping women young, in my opinion, and that just kind of rubs me the wrong way. Number 3. I personally wasn't sure if re-signing their contracts with JYP was the best decision for all 9 members of TWICE, especially if they ever want to do something outside of the group, such as solo music or acting, but I also low-key think that they would have felt the same, and the girls will have taken this into consideration when negotiating the re-signing of their contracts. They've been in the industry long enough now, I'm sure they'll have fought for what they wanted if they wanted it. I know they're not dumb. Number 4. I think enlisting is one of the best things that could have happened to BTS of late. I'm sorry, I have to say it. It gives them a chance to have a little bit of a break after years and years of working non-stop, but it also allows them time as individuals and artists to discover themselves and what they want to do for themselves outside of the group, even outside of music. The members were either teenagers or very, very young adults when they debuted, and just like a lot of K-pop idols, all they've ever known is being in this group. This has been their career from a very young age. Those years in like your early 20s are like your developmental years as an adult, where you get more opportunities to find yourself, and they simply haven't even had time to do that. So as much as I'll really miss them, I'm also really excited for them to see what they'll endeavour to do now that they're separated. 5. I think a lot of 4th generation groups don't have the same potential for longevity as some 2nd and 3rd gen groups did. Some groups debuting nowadays, I just can't picture having as big of an impact in the 5th or 6th gen as some 2nd and 3rd gen groups still have now, if that makes sense. 6. Some people are far too harsh on NMIXX. Listen, I'm absolutely okay with people having their own opinion on their music, and if it's not your style, I get that, but it is not the girls' fault if you don't like their music or their sound, and a lot of people really act like it is. I'm hoping there'll be a shift in coming years, but I hope they don't have to change their concept first in order to get basic respect from K-pop fans. 7. SM really need to decide what they're doing with Lucas now. At this point, the radio silence is unfair on everybody involved, all the guessing and wondering what ifs. I'm not asking for a daily update on what he's up to. I personally feel an idol's hiatus is their business, but I don't know, a little bit of an update every now and again just to remind fans he's doing well wouldn't hurt, that sort of thing. 8. As time goes on and K-pop grows in popularity, the market is only going to get more saturated, and this will make it even harder for groups to succeed. This will therefore lead to more pressure, and I think even harsher circumstances than trainees already have to endure. I know, right? It doesn't even seem imaginable, but I think things are going to get even harder for trainees. 9. On a similar topic, I think the increased saturation of the K-pop market is leading to more bandwagon standing and unstanning of groups. The latter is what scares me more, because I just don't get it. How can you claim you loved a group 1 minute and then suddenly drop them for seemingly no reason whatsoever when literally nothing's changed? It's like one day to the next. Their music hasn't changed, they've not released anything new, you've just suddenly decided you don't like them anymore because other people don't. It honestly leads me to question if you ever really liked a group in the first place, or if it was more of a, well, everybody else likes them so I do too. 10. I'm low-key kind of sad that it looks like TXT might be changing up their concepts. I know this sounds so hypocritical because I'm the first person to preach about, letting groups change their concepts, but I personally loved the pop-punk sort of image they had in their recent few comebacks, and I thought it really suited them. Number 11. There is a heck of a lot of revisionism of earlier K-pop generations in 4th generation K-pop stans. Revisionism is when somebody tries to change existing beliefs about how previous things happened or what their importance and meaning was. So in K-pop stans, this could mean perhaps newer stans ignoring the impact older groups had or pretending it didn't exist, acting like older groups were never important and their current new faves pretty much invented K-pop. Okay, now this is one I definitely need to do a full like video essay sort of thing on because I know there's so much I could say about this topic. Now I'd love to hear your thoughts on it too. 12. Everything in K-pop kind of feels like a cycle to me in the sense that it will eventually repeat, and I think a lot can be said for like pop culture in general. But when you put this into context of K-pop groups, I personally felt like third generation K-pop was for the boy groups. There were so many incredible boy groups, and now I think fourth generation is going to be for the girl groups. I mean, we're already seeing signs of how many amazing, incredible girl groups there are right now. So I don't know, maybe fifth gen will be back to boy groups, who knows? But you get what I mean? I think everything's going to kind of loop like that. 13. I do not believe Jinny wanted to leave NMIXX. I don't mean to sound like a conspiracy theorist when this is her business, but considering how happy and excited she seemed for the group's future just days before her sudden departure, I personally believe she was left with no choice but to leave, or perhaps was forcefully removed by the company. 14. I was actually really surprised that G-Dragon was the only Big Bang member to renew his contract with YG, and the rest of the members either chose to leave or move to the black label. I thought all members of Big Bang would just re-sign with YG. I will admit I'm not actually a stan of the group, so I don't know about them or their feelings towards the company that well, but I guess I kind of just always assumed that because they were so huge that they would have had a good relationship with the company. I know it doesn't make sense now that I think about it, but I just thought that YG would always do whatever they could to protect Big Bang and would want to keep the members happy and under the label. I know, clearly I'm wrong, but yeah, that surprised me. 15. I don't want to be annoying about it, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same about their faves, but for me there's just some K-pop groups who I personally feel it will never be possible to replicate. For me, these are groups such as VIX and EXO, where no matter what new groups come around and how many groups I love, I always find myself going back to them as like my reliables. No matter how long ago a release was, it's always a sort of thing that I will just never stop loving. They're like timeless for me. Maybe we all have a group that's like that for us. 16. Okay, I'm sorry, but I'm getting a little bit sick of the quote-unquote Y2K concept in K-pop at the moment. Now hear me out, this is mainly just because it's usually never a Y2K concept song, and more just a bit of 2000s styling at a push, because sometimes it's not even that. I would welcome this concept in K-pop because it's what I grew up with and I do love it, but only if the execution was better than it is now, because it is poor. 17. I am begging the viewing audience to let ITZY grow up and experiment with their sound, because all they get is hate and backlash for every new concept that they try now. If JYP is giving them different concepts and they're happy to push the envelope and take on more challenging concepts, such as like what In the Morning was, because I know that was such a drastic change from what they were doing before, then I don't see why it got the level of hate that it got. They're growing up now and they're not going to be doing cutesy kid-friendly music all the time, and that's fine. This is how they will grow as artists, by experimenting with more sounds. I was actually going to do a video all about ITZY and their timeline and like throw my 2 cents in there about when their concept changed and what like the audience's reactions have been, because it's kind of been all over the place. And I think the main reason they're getting so much hate is because people don't want them to change. But I think it's really important for us to remember that if we ever want them to find who they are as artists, then we're going to have to let them try new things sometimes. Yes, I know I'm a hypocrite because I was just saying how much I love TXT's current concept, but you get what I mean. It's not that I'm not open to them trying new things anyway, it's just I think as K-pop fans we can be really narrow-minded sometimes in what we want groups to do. 18. The reason why there's not many sexy concepts in K-pop anymore, I personally believe is because of a mixture of two things. One, companies wanting to debut children rather than grown adults most likely plays a part in that. That's fine, I don't want them doing anything other than age-friendly concepts. But two, I also feel companies don't know how to differentiate between like sensual and sexy, or just what they think is straight up trashy. They have this misconception of what sexy can mean, and their idea of what they think sexy is the kind that is taboo, especially of course in Korea, who we know is quite conservative. But a more mature concept, probably executed in perhaps a style like AOA used to have, does still have the potential to succeed without ruffling too many feathers, and I'll be honest, I kind of miss them. 19. I think the reason we don't have more co-ed groups is because K-pop fans will be weird about it. After the success of KARD, I really thought we would start to see more companies debuting co-ed groups, but I was kind of surprised to see there hasn't really been many others except for that one that doesn't really seem to be doing much, Checkmate I believe they were called, and I guess the likes of, I don't know, Triple H. I've only really seen the likes of like SM do it for like special stages and stuff like that. They're never really like proper groups, and I always wondered why, and then I realized it's because fans will probably be weird about it. You know, having like male and female idols in the same group and like shipping them, starting fan wars, starting like awkward scenarios. I think we're quite lucky with KARD because we don't see a lot of that at all. Everything's clearly very platonic and fans aren't strange about it, but you never know, do you? And if fans get wind of anything they think could be more than just friendship, friendship, then I think all hell would break loose. And I don't think companies want to even take the risk. It's a shame really, because I think a bit more co-ed content, especially from like companies, would be really fun. And it would give idols a chance to get to know each other better. But yeah, I don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon. 20. I saw a tweet going around recently about K-pop outfit icks. This isn't necessarily an outfit ick, but it's my biggest K-pop styling ick. Makeup artists giving idols foundation like 3 shades too light for their skin tone. Oh my god, I hate this so much. Why on earth do they do this? It stresses me out. So many idols are already quite pale, and then they're given this makeup which just washes them out even further. And I always just feel like, what is the need? It makes me really sad because a lot of the time they're covering up their really beautiful natural glow with what just seems like an attempt at a Western beauty standard. And I think K-pop companies and their styling team would be surprised to know that I'm pretty sure a lot of global K-pop fans would just like to see their natural skin tone. 21. I don't really know what it is, but every year I always feel that K-pop music releases slap harder in the second half of the year than the first. I always find myself scrimping around for new K-pop music I like earlier in the year and struggling to find any. Why is that? I hope I'm wrong this year and things are different, but we'll have to wait and see. Fingers crossed. 22. I think some companies nowadays are debuting groups with no intention of them being successful at home in Korea, and instead are just aiming for that international audience because it's so huge nowadays and is only just growing. 23. I absolutely thought Love Dive deserved to be Song of the Year last year because it was Song of the Year, simple as that. And while we're on the topic of awards, I would love to start seeing big awards and day songs starting to get handed out to a greater variety of groups, if you catch my drift. I think it would just make things more fun and spice up the content, and it would actually get more people involved and engaged with award shows and more interested to see what happens. Okay guys, and that was it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching if you got this far. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. If you're new here and haven't yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button down below and turn on the notification bell. That'll let you be the first to hear whenever I upload. And as always, my social medias will be on screen. There's my Twitter and my Instagram. I always follow back fellow K-pop stans, so let's be friends. And I'll see you next time. Bye guys!